It's boring on the crypto market now. Trading volumes have dropped, investors' interest have stalled, rather bearish vibes are prevailing all over the place. All info sources are scaring us with the continuing rise of the interest rate initiated by the Fed, and the US seems to be waiting for an inevitable default. The market is stuck in standby mode. However, the events that I will talk about in this video can change everything in an instant. Where will Bitcoin end up next? At $25,000 or $28,000. What to expect from the Fed this week? Will the US default on its debts? I am about to answer these and many other questions in today's video. Let's get into it. The main reason behind the lull in markets lies in the situation of uncertainty with the national debt ceiling in the US. Last week, Joe Biden made a loud statement about the US not going default under any circumstances.
We will not default.
He noted that he was able to convince the Republicans to vote for raising the national debt limit, and that the talks should continue in the near future. A truly unexpected statement, especially after considering the fact of the Republicans previously reporting the Democrats' unwillingness to seek a compromise on the national debt issue. Besides, after Donald Trump's appeal to the Republicans meant to organize a default, especially if Biden and co. did not give in and agree to budget cuts. Even a week ago, Republicans were ready to follow Trump's precepts and go through with it. A little later, the Republican leader in the Congress calmed everyone down, announcing their desire to give a go for a vote and raise the national debt ceiling already this week. News about achieving a common ground led to the stock market turnaround. The S&P 500 index bounced back from 4,100 and grew by almost 100 points. Meanwhile, Bitcoin has been in a narrow range throughout all week. Why didn't the markets fly higher using the news of the compromise? Because all this time, somewhere in the depth of their souls, investors understood politicians would definitely come to an agreement and prevent catastrophes. With that said, we still have to wait for the official resolution. Debt disputes are not the only thing keeping markets from blooming. Investors' mood also largely depends on what the head of the Fed can say on the matter. During his Friday speech, Jerome Powell once again left everyone confused. He stated the fact of inflation significantly exceeding the target level of 2%. Let me remind you that now it's worth 4.9%. In other words, it's like a direct hint on the Fed continuing to raise interest rates in order to curb inflation by all means necessary. Then Powell changed his anger to mercy and began to reassure investors. He said that perhaps it might be enough for rate raising, and a further inflation decline will depend on other factors, for example on the labor market state. Among other things, the Fed chairman added that perhaps the rate doesn't need to be raised as much as the Fed had planned earlier on. He cited the argument that high rates can hurt banks a lot. Think of it as a hint, like the Fed is afraid of a new bank fall if it continues to raise the rate. Subsequently, at the moment, analysts estimate the probability of a further rate rise of 17% at the meeting on June 14th. It should give hope for an imminent turnaround in monetary policy, thus helping buyers hold the price. Does it also mean the start of a full-length bull market? Things can still change drastically. Towards the end of the video, I'll tell you what events you should follow this week. Let's take a break from politics for a minute and have a look at some interesting Bitcoin-related news. Robert Kiyosaki predicts Armageddon, once again stating the US economy is headed for a crash landing. The author of Rich Dad Poor Dad book urges investors to buy Bitcoin, gold and silver to keep their capital in balance. Is Kiyosaki right? Yeah, the economy is in serious trouble, and why not move some of your cash into assets, which could be less affected by inflation? Nevertheless, the prospects for default do not seem to scare off the whales. Big players with between 8,000 and 10,000 bitcoins their accounts have been strengthening their positions for 5 weeks now, which could only mean that major investors expect the price to rise. Another sign of a bright future for Bitcoin is displayed in the following piece. Democratic presidential candidate Robert F. Kennedy Jr. will become the first presidential candidate in US history to accept donations for the presidential campaign in Bitcoins. He is considering cryptocurrencies as a symbol of democracy and freedom. Give this video a like and subscribe to the channel if you agree with his opinion. Your contribution will help more people see our videos. Thank you. And what do technical analysis gurus write these days? A well-known trader told what should happen to the Bitcoin price in order to prolong the bull momentum. He assumed that if traders can conquer the 27,600 mark, which now acts as a resistant one, then we can count on a further increase in the asset's value. Although this scenario should happen within the next few weeks. Otherwise, the quotes of the first cryptocurrency will fall to $25,000. Another well-known expert shared that he's waiting for another Bitcoin collapse in the range of 21 to 25 grand. According to his claims, the increase in the number of scammers and meme tokens indicates certain problems within the market. Moreover, he emphasized how he would definitely buy more Bitcoins as soon as their value reaches 25 grand. Talking about other well-known experts, in a course of 2-week analysis, those guys are predicting an inevitable bull market surge. Judging by analysts' words, cryptocurrencies are going through a consolidation phase that precedes a bullish rally. Moving on to the most intriguing part. A couple of events are planned for this week, which can possibly set the further market direction. The first one doesn't have an announced date. I'm talking about voting for raising the debt ceiling. What you need to pay attention to are the conditions prescribed in this law. You see, the other day on the sidelines of the G7 summit in Hiroshima, Biden made another crypto market hitting statement. The President of the United States has suddenly announced that he will not agree to a deal with the Republicans, meant to protect tax evaders and crypto traders while risking food aid programs. Therefore, the crypto market can become notably feverish even if issues with the public debt are still resolved. Waiting for further updates here. The second major event will take place on Wednesday of May 24th. On this day, the minutes of the previous Fed meeting will be published. Believe it or not, but last week the Fed spokesman scared everyone with another rate hike at the June meeting. Then on Friday, Jerome Powell reveals that this may not be the case. The minutes of the last meeting will clearly indicate how many Fed members are in favor of further rate hikes and how many are against it. This should clarify if there are hints of a pause in raising the rate. Then the bulls will receive a powerful signal to buy and Bitcoin can test at least the $28,000 zone. Where will Bitcoin go this week? Up or down? Write in the comments below. Let's see how situation resolves. This week's crypto market promises to be volatile, so buckle up. Check out our other videos and see you next time.